Sure thing. Lastly, this item is to introduce the updating strategy for the long-range transportation plan. The LRTP helps achieve the mission of the NPEDC. For those who don't know, the LRTP is a federally required, physically constrained, long-range planning document updated every 4 years that guides major transportation investments for at least the next 20 years or 2050 for this planning cycle. This plan describes the region's vision, goals, and implementation strategies. It also describes the current conditions and desired future transportation system. The graphic on the right is the cover of the current LRTP that will expire at the end of September, which is the deadline for this planning effort. And to go into the scheduling, the updating strategy being presented at this meeting follows a 3-phased approach of visioning, prioritization, and public review. It also includes the NPEDC conducting 5 public meetings to review the plan material. The first step of the LRTP updating process will be the visioning phase to review the vision, goals, and existing conditions. The May 22nd meeting will be used to focus on these areas and provide guidance to finalize content for the June 22nd meeting. The June 26th meeting. The June 26th meeting will be used to finalize the vision and goals and to begin reviewing priorities based on vision and goals. This will kick off the prioritization phase, which will gather feedback on any big ideas and investment strategies for the vision. The July 17th meeting will be used to finalize priorities and release the draft plan for public review. A public review phase will last at least 21 days and conclude at the August 21st meeting, which will serve to review and collect additional public comments received. And the long-range transportation plan will need to be approved by the NPEDC along with any final edits to the draft at this August 21st meeting to meet that deadline. And staff will make every attempt to gather public input using the town's Zen City public outreach platform to share recorded presentations, collect survey responses, and provide opportunities to comment on draft material. And just for an example, here's an example of the beloved peacock graphic used by the Houston-Galveston region that I actually helped recently update. The overarching vision used for this example is at the top, and at the point of this spectrum of goals are the desired outcomes in simple terms. A safe, resilient, reliable, and equitable multimodal transportation system that contributes to a livable region. This is the succinct vision of what the system in that region would aspire to be by 2045. The goals explicitly included federal performance measures and planning factors with which the plan is required to align. The desired outcomes, which include 0 fatalities and facilities in good condition, these use simple metrics in layman's terms to help the public understand the long-term intents. And this example of a surreal vision provided in red, along with the goals, directly informed the priority planning activities shown here on the left in bold. These are for safety, reliability, resiliency, equity, using analytics for a data-informed process to ensure livability. And again, the livability is defined by providing mode choice and services within proximity of activity centers. And lastly, the hook of this vision was that a surreal vision needs you. So there is an investment effort for more public participation techniques. Again, this is just an example. And what is the Nantucket region's vision? This is our current vision at the top in black. An alternative wording is provided here in red that may provide a more succinct way of saying that a safe, accessible, and economical transportation system with vehicle limitations that is sensitive to the character of the island. This is what the Nantucket region currently would like the transportation to be in 2050. The current plan also offers 9 mechanisms for achieving that vision. It includes vehicle restrictions, using a development pattern of town and country, providing an array of multimodal transportation options, pursuing parking management, providing wayfinding for the general public. Topics of resiliency and reliability are included, along with transportation between the mainlands, as well as congestion and safety balancing, and environmental and historic sensitivity. That sounds like a lot because it is. For conceptual purposes, here are those same 9 goal areas or mechanisms on the left. These have been modified slightly based on planning factors noted in the arrows to be more succinct. And let me add those arrows in there. These 6 goals then align with suggested desired outcomes. These are provided for discussion purposes that will assist staff in developing a strategy for public outreach. Starting at the top of the middle column, this goal suggests prioritizing reliability to, from, and around the islands. Next, ensure equitable investment through outreach with prioritized investment in all modes of transportation within the town overlay. Then strengthening the economy through reliable freight movement, connected paths, and frequent transit operations, and turnover of on-street parking downtown. That would be the economic goal. Next, investments should contribute to a resilient system and a state of good repair. And then lastly, regarding safety, achieve 0 fatalities by 2050. Lastly, minimizing impacts to the natural and cultural environment. There was no error there. I miss, apologies for that. And again, the updating strategy is extremely ambitious. We're on a very tight timeline. In my last position, the updating the transportation plan was a 2-year process. We're trying to do this in 3 or 4 months now here. The next meeting will be May 22nd to focus on the vision, goals, and briefly review conditions of the system. This phase will wrap at the June 26th meeting and then focus on the list of recommended projects for funding, as well as illustrative investments that we just can't afford right now. And again, staff will make every effort to gather public input using the town's Zen City outreach platform to share recorded presentations, collect input via survey responses, and provide opportunities for other comments on draft material. And Madam Chair, as you know, I think that's it. Again, the proposed public review period is from July 21st for the transportation plan and would end August 21st, 2023 to meet our September deadline. And again, no actions requested this month, but I'm happy to answer any of the questions that I flew over the topics of vision and goals. But this is kind of the opportunity now to, I guess, take the temperature of the room and see if there was any like, dislike to the movement towards a succinct vision, succinct goals, and using the strategy of desired outcomes.
Thank you, Mike. Would you scroll back in the presentation to that alternative wording that you presented? And John, you can go ahead with a question.
This is more specific, Mike, so I'm not sure if this is the right time to ask this or a future meeting. But years ago, and this was when you were here before you had left, and I'm happy you're back, we had discussed Milestone Road. And in looking at the plan that is going to be revised and updated at the Island Lumber there, we had originally looked at a potential for a roundabout there. We are obviously still looking at the rotary being updated. Further on down in Tom Nevers, we had the Tom Nevers Road changed and updated to be a little bit more safer. And I guess what I'm getting at is, at some point for long-term planning, we had talked about a roundabout in the Noble Deer Farm Road milestone connection. for a few reasons. Number one, safety when you have people pulling out of there, when you have people traveling down Milestone Road, slowing down to a point where the roundabout is, and also allowing traffic to flow a little bit more easily into that roundabout, because traffic is really not only getting backed up, it does back up over half the distance of Nobody Farm Road. And I was just wondering if that is something that we're going to be looking at long-term in a long-range planning. And, if you can answer or I can continue, but grants and things like that, I'm happy to say I've been very optimistic upon your return with any kind of grant writing and money that we've been leaving on the table for years. I'm hoping that the grant writing and funds from the state and the federal government are coming through back on schedule as we hope they would.
Hey, Mike?
Madam Chair, I can say that at least in the current plan, as I understand it, those improvements are included in the long-range transportation plan. So whether there's funding to actually construct those or not, that's why I mentioned that we might include them in what's called an illustrative list. That's a list of projects that there is support for, there's just not funding for, and that's even over the 20-year period. So we can talk about where those intersection projects are in that list and in the priority in the coming months. I will say that a roundabout configuration was the recommendation for safety, congestion, and air quality reasons. There is that project at Pulpus and Milestone Road. Raisha could tell you that there is an engineering directive from the head of Mass DOT, the lead engineer, I can't remember his title, to actually evaluate roundabouts with any intersection improvement, just to look at the feasibility of that. It doesn't necessarily have to be the recommendation that's advanced, but it at least needs to be considered because of the safety, congestion, and air quality benefits of roundabouts. I think to answer your question shortly, yes, it is in the plan. It can be considered.
That's refreshing to hear. Thank you very much, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Other comments or questions? So, Mike, you're looking for us at our next meeting to discuss and adopt the alternative wording and vision. Is that correct? You're not looking for us to do that today?
Some direction would be nice at this meeting. If you would like to set a work group up or something like that to go over the material in the meantime between now and the next meeting, that would be great. But again, I believe at the June meeting, we can continue discussion in May, but at the June meeting, that really does, if to meet this ambitious timeline, that really does need to be kind of finalized by that June meeting date.
Okay. Further comments or questions? Direction for Mike? Yes, Andrew?
Just wanted to underscore what Mike said about the timeline, because we are operating with a deadline here, and I want to just make sure the board understands, or the commission understands, that there's not going to be time to sort of similar to the open space plan to just let things go. That basically we have a fairly tight timeline here, and the effort to get public participation and everything has to occur within this to meet that September deadline, which is I know Mike knows that it's tight, but this is the hand that he's been dealt, and this is what has to happen to meet it. So I just want to be clear about that, for those who are interested in this, you really will need to put time into doing and providing comments in conjunction with the schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Further comments or questions from commissioners? All right, well, it'll be a transportation summer.
It usually is, isn't it? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mike. All right, so that concludes the transportation program manager update portion of the